Welcome to the Love of the Star podcast. I'm Bobby Belt, Dallas Cowboys insider for 105.3 The Fan in Dallas, as you can see right there on the video stream. Joined as always by former NFL scout and Super Bowl winner Brian Broaddus. He is now the co-host of the G-Bag Nation, 2 to 7 p.m. Central, Monday through Friday on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas. He's also the pre- and post-game co-host on the Dallas Cowboys radio network. Brian, I don't know that you've ever shown us the ring on the stream. You need to wear the ring more. So that you can flash it whenever I reference you as a Super Bowl winning NFL scout. You know what's
throw
it
funny.
Up there.
Yeah, and good soon to be afternoon, Robert. Appreciate your lead in to me. Yeah, I will wear it. I'm sorry. I was on two different platforms last week that I'd never been on before. So I wore the ring as that kind of a thing to kind of maybe give myself some credibility with you. I feel like I got a little credibility already here.
You got a ton of credibility. But I just love seeing the jewelry. I love seeing you got the Super Bowl trophy behind you.
There's me right after the game with the Super Bowl trophy.
You got so much. I'm just saying. I think with I'm sure the Chill Boys underwear that you're wearing.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they complement each other nicely. You're looking fresh. You're feeling good whenever you rock both of those. Chillboys.com promo code STAR again for 15% off your order. Again, if you want to help us out, if you want to support the podcast, you want to support this show and what we bring to you guys, the best way you can do that is by supporting the people that support us. So that means going to chillboys.com, placing an order, put promo code STAR. Tell them you heard Brian Broaddus specifically rave about the socks and the underwear, and you just had to get a pair. Leave a feedback comment there and say, I don't know, we got to come up with a hashtag. You use promo code STAR, but then in your feedback for them, you need to say, hashtag undies for Broaddus, and leave that in their feedback so that they know that Brian Broaddus brought it to you.
Real quick about that. Yeah. We're getting ready to go to camp. We got camp here in the next couple of weeks. And I've already got the Chill Boys packed where they need to be. Matter of fact, looking to get more Chill Boys. So, again, help us out. And they will help you out because it is some of the most comfortable socks, underwear, T-shirts. And I'm not just saying that because it's a sponsor. The material is super, super soft. And when you're dealing with heat, humidity, and all that, you don't want stuff that's all clingy to you. This stuff breathes. And so, go get you some Chill Boys, and trust me, I'll be wearing it at training camp here in a couple of weeks.
We will be at training camp here in just about 10 days or so.
Yeah.
And Brian, when we're there, we're going to have a lot of questions, a lot of different things that we're going to be looking at. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a single question for each position group. I'm just going to have a burning question essentially for you, and we'll kick it around and share our thoughts on it. We'll do each position group. So we'll go quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. We'll do offensive line as a whole. Then we'll do defensive end, defensive tackle, linebacker, corner, safety. So I want to lead off with the most important position on the football field, Brian, the quarterback.
Yeah.
And here's my question. We can go, obviously, in a number of different directions with Dak Prescott. We can go in the direction of, what do you have in Trey Lance? My question for you is about Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's my question for you as we enter training camp. Is Cooper Rush fighting more for his spot on the 53 than he is to be the number 2 quarterback?
No.
So you think he is because this came up on 105 through the Fan. We were talking through some things. I think this is Trey Lance's job as the number 2 quarterback. I don't think that's even much of a question for me.
Yeah, I think Cooper Rush is the safety net here. I think if we get out to camp and Trey Lance doesn't look good, they're going to keep Cooper Rush as the second quarterback.
Very interesting. I think to me, especially if you don't have a deal done with Dak, you're going to want to present like, hey, here's our safety net, because you can't present a safety net as a guy who's a third quarterback. And I think that they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that he's ready to go as the number 2. So I think that it's going to be really difficult for Cooper Rush to do anything to win that number 2 job this year.
I think he'll win that job if Trey Lance doesn't look very good. I can't. If you're sitting out there at practice and all of a sudden, and I'm all for what you're saying here. I am all for Trey Lance taking every single rep that he could get. If you want to give him all of Cooper Rush's reps, by all means do it. I know what Cooper Rush is.
Yeah.
But if Trey Lance goes out there and spits the bit, that's my horse racing term for the piece of metal that goes in the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
So if Trey Lance, that horse, spits that bit, then where are you going to turn? You are not going to put now. They can name Trey Lance the second quarterback, knowing damn good and well they might not win a game with him if he's out there and there's indecision, if there's hesitation, if there's turnovers, if there's things where to me, Trey Lance, this is his job to either take or he's going somewhere else. That's how I look at this.
I think one of the things that I find interesting about this whole setup right now at quarterback behind Dak is if you were to tell me I need one game, I need to win one game. I know Dak is going to go. Dak twists an ankle and misses a game. I think I want Cooper Rush starting.
Cooper Rush is going to win the game. If
you tell me Dak has gone down in week 1 and he's out for the year, I want Trey Lance starting.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
I think those are different. If I want a long-term, if there's a long-term section of the season where he's going to be out, I want Trey Lance in. If it's a single game, I think I trust Cooper Rush. I know that he can win a game for me. I know they can devise an offense that wins a game with Cooper Rush at quarterback. So that's one of the things that I'm like, look, I think that ultimately this is going to be Trey Lance's job as the number 2 quarterback. I think he enters camp with what we saw in minicamp and OTAs. He took every rep as the number 2, and he was the only one getting some of the number 1 reps. So for me, I think that Trey Lance has got this number 2 job. So the only question at that point would be, does Cooper Rush stay as a third quarterback? That's why I bring it up, is because I think there's a decent chance, at least for my opinion, it sounds like you split on it a little bit, but yeah, I think there's a decent chance that Cooper Rush is fighting more for being on the roster than for winning the number 2 job, because I think the Cowboys are pretty set on him getting that.
Yeah, you very well. That's why we're having this discussion. I just feel like that they are going to evaluate Trey Lance, and if Trey Lance is not good enough, then he is going to be the third quarterback, and then the 4th round experiment goes by the wayside. Unless they want to say, okay, let's keep him around for another year and Dak's gone and this is what we're going to do.
Let's go to the running back position now. My question for you there, Brian, there are 8 running backs on the roster right now.
Yeah.
Snoop Connor, Malik Davis, Rico Dowdle, Ezekiel Elliott, Royce Freeman, Hunter Lipke, Nathaniel Pete, and Deuce Vaughn. Brian Broaddus, I'm not going to ask you to do a full 53-man roster projection, but right now on July 15th, as we prepare to enter training camp, which of those running backs will be on the 53-man roster when we start football in week 1?
Elliott, Dowdle, Hunter Lipke, Deuce Vaughn.
So this would be the end of the road then for Malik Davis, and you think the veterans, Royce Freeman, Snoop Connor, they would be out?
Yeah, I do.
Now, is this something where, as we stand right now, and I think I agree with you, I think those are the ones that I would group in there right now for the Cowboys. And look, a lot of times you'll see somebody on the roster for one day, and then they find a way to sneak Nathaniel Pete maybe onto IR for the whole year or something. It's the little tricks we do. But in terms of week 1, injuries aside, I think you've got the group right there. What is the carry breakdown, you think? And I know this is technically 2 questions, but your best guess right now, what's the carry breakdown you think between Elliott and Dowdle for the first few weeks of the season? Is it a 50-50 split? Is one of them getting a little bit more?
I think they're going in with the idea that it's going to be 50-50, and that whichever of the 2 is more productive, then that guy will get the following week against New Orleans might get more carries. They're going to determine right now. They probably believe that Ezekiel Elliott should get the lion's share of the work. To them, they probably believe that. Me personally, I think they need to go 50-50. And I think the only reason why I kept Deuce Vaughn on the team is because in OTA, and again, I've been fooled by this before, where they show something in OTA practices and then don't do it during the season. I saw Deuce Vaughn getting work in the backfield, but also getting work at receiver. That's why I kept him. I think they have a plan. Let's see if they use him like they showed him at OTAs. I think going in, it's going to be 50-50 on the what you asked me with the carries with Dowdle and Elliott. and whichever of the two is more productive, that is going to be the one they're going to go forward with.
Let's go to the receivers now for the next group.
You like that one or not?
No, I like your answer there. I think you're on the money.
I will say
with
this: Hunter Lipke might cost somebody their spot.
They like Hunter Lipke. The head coach likes Hunter Lipke.
A tight end, might even be a wide receiver.
Yeah,
maybe an offensive lineman.
Yeah, if you feel like you got enough position flex among your offensive line group, you could be like, we can lose one of them.
Yeah.
So I don't disagree there at all. Brian, the receiver question. Look, we've talked about we've talked about Jalen Brooks. We've talked about how they really seem to like David Durden, who's rehabbing from things. Here's the question for you. Based on the receiving group, give me the name that we haven't really talked about at all that will become the training camp star receiver. Every year there is a receiver where people are like, well, you can't let that guy go. And he doesn't even necessarily make the 53. Like one year it may be Dontario Drummond or guys like that. So give me the receiver that you think will show up at these practices and at least get some play, get some discussion, even if they don't ultimately make the 53.
I think the Racey McMath is the guy that I would kind of look at just because of his length, his size.
Big guy, 6'3", 217.
Yeah, that's where I would, if somebody is going to show up, and you made mention of all those guys, Billy Johnson.
Tyron Billy Johnson.
Tyron Billy Johnson. I think they're probably looking for a bigger guy, and that's why I thought that McMath would have a chance to be that guy.
Yeah, I think Tyron Billy Johnson is a good answer there because that is a big program college player, LSU and Oklahoma State. That is a guy who has been able to hang around the NFL on practice squads and things like that all the way back to 2019. And you talk about a guy with incredible speed. That'll be a guy I bet that we talk about. We'll be recapping practice and we say, hey, the second team out there with Cooper Rush, they hit a big play deep to, Tyron Billy Johnson. He made a big play there. I think that's one. The other name that I think is at least interesting to watch because I think there's some people who are fans of his in the building, and he managed to get on the practice squad last year, and that's Jalo Moreno Cropper, who had come over from USC. He was an undrafted free agent from Fresno State, not USC. But Jalen Cropper, I think, is a guy who there are some fans in the building who he could pop a little bit at some of these practices. But definitely Tyron Billy Johnson, who you mentioned there, Racey McMath, I think those are a couple of good answers as well.
Why do I think all those guys are the same guy? Why do I think every one of those guys seem like the same type of player?
Because they are, and to be honest, it's the type of player that
who's going to distinguish himself? I mean, that's the question you're asking me right now.
Well, and again, not even make the roster, but not even necessarily make the roster, but pop and be included in Scout's Eye for they had some good plays.
Yeah,
I think that. These guys who Tyron Billy Johnson is the one I think that makes the most sense to me. That's a guy who's been around the league for 5 years, understands work habits and practice habits, has a lot of speed, is probably going to be able to take advantage of some of these young second team, third team DBs that are going to be out there. Mm-hmm. And so does it ultimately get him a roster spot? I don't know about that, but I think at the very least, it's something where we're going to hear his name mentioned a little bit.
Pick the two practice squad guys out of that group then, because that's what you're really looking at.
I will say
Billy Johnson is one to you, right?
Yeah, Tyron Billy Johnson, and then I'll say Cropper, I guess.
You know anything with Durden?
Durden might make the roster. They like him a lot. They like him a lot. You don't heavy side me, Brian.
Okay. I fine. If he shows up, I mean, I was over there watching him. I was over there watching him do the chords. Looks quick. Yeah. I'm just saying, to me, all these guys kind of look the same. It wouldn't surprise me if Durden it wouldn't surprise me. But okay, at what cost? Like you said, I just told you I can't keep Hunter Lipke because I got 7 wide receivers going off here, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a problem. It might be a problem there, keeping guys like Durden and Billy Johnson and people like that.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I had somebody tell me last year that had Durden not gotten hurt, he was going to be guy number 53.
That's okay.
They like to look when he was getting carted off. It was Stephen Jones who went over there and talked to him before he got carted off the field.
Tears coming down the face of the front office members as we see.
You are listening to the Love of the Star podcast. The Love of the Star is an Audacy podcast. You can find it on the Audacy app or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, Brian, we've run through the quarterback, receivers, running backs. Now let's go to the tight ends. You look at it, and it's an interesting group. We know they've got a lot of different guys there that they like, especially guys that they've acquired as undrafted free agents. Princeton they're fans of. They've had Peyton Hendershot here for a couple of years. I think they really like Brevin Spanford. Obviously, the highest draft capital they've invested in any of these guys is Luke Schoonmaker, who you and I were both big fans of. So my question for you, Brian, is at what point do your concerns about Luke Schoonmaker?
I'm concerned.
Well, at what point do your concerns about Luke Schoonmaker become your evaluation of Luke Schoonmaker?
I'm concerned right now, and that's part of my evaluation. He does not need to be standing over next to you and I when this thing starts.
Yeah.
Okay. The guy I think that's in trouble is Hendershot. That's who I think is in trouble.
Agreed.
But this team, if Luke Schoonmaker is not showing up, yeah, this is a practice squad guy. Then maybe if you get him through or whatever. There's nobody that was more of a fan of Luke Schoonmaker, but I can't have him standing next to me during practice this year. I need to get better at blocking, point of attack blocking at tight end. He was able to do that at Michigan. I hope this is a Dalton Schultz replay all over again, where the first couple of years it's rough. I'm throwing dirt on him. He blocks me on Twitter, all these things, and then he turns out to be a really good player. I really do like Luke Schoonmaker. But I can't sit there and hold a spot for you just because I drafted you in the second round.
Yeah.
If there are other players that are better, and here again, this is where the Hunter Lipkes of the world come in.
Mm-hmm.
How many tight ends you going to keep? You're going to keep 4. They're going to act like, let's keep 5. No, you can't. You're not going to do that. Not especially with the problems you have at defensive line. When you're looking at numbers that you might have to keep, that you might have to rob an area to keep. Tight end seems like to me a room where they find 3 guys and Hunter Lipke's the 4th. That could be the way they go.
So, and I don't disagree with you that Lipke could put some guys in jeopardy. I think that Hendershot is in trouble. I really still like Schoonmaker a ton.
I like Schoonmaker too, but at what cost?
Right. That's why if I see if this is a repeat, if training camp is a repeat of last year's training camp, I'm going to start saying how do I? Yeah,
I can't protect him, and this is where I'm hoping that it is the. This is where I'm hoping this is the Dalton Schultz, where he's not looking good. He's not doing this. He's not doing this. He's not doing, and then all of a sudden it turns things around.
Yeah,
I'm hopeful of that. I am a Luke Schoonmaker fan. You stand next to me for another training camp, I can't help you anymore. I can't defend you anymore. I'll defend you now, but I hope. I'm just hoping now. Because I've seen the other guys practice. Hell, you talk about somebody they really liked, that John Stevens. That was somebody they really liked. John Stevens was going to, you say Durden, and I laugh. Oh, he was going to make the team. And I'm like, okay. But the guy that proved that he can make the team and be a good player was that John Stevens.
They liked him. They liked him a great deal. Yeah.
Hell yeah, they did.
All right, here's your question for offensive line, Brian, that we'll kick around a little bit. With Tyler Smith. You don't like my answers at all, do you, today? No, I do. I've agreed with you on like all but one of them, basically. And the one I didn't agree with you on is the one where you got the least contentious, which was the Cooper Rush question. On the offensive line, no, I'm not talking about into the future. This is just for 2024. Is there a chance that 5 of your best 6 offensive linemen, Cooper Beebe, TJ Bass, Brock Hoffman, Zach Martin, Tyler Smith, is there a chance that 5 of your best 6 linemen are interior offensive linemen?
Yes.
And if so, here's the follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be negligence not to move Tyler Smith to tackle for 2024?
What are you doing, man?
It's not, I'm not saying it is. It's a question. If 5 of your 6 are interior offensive linemen, where they're your best, do you say, well, Terrence Steele has the right tackle?
I know exactly what you're doing.
If Tyler Guyton's not ready right away, if Chume Doga's not good enough,
that's now the plan. Now the drafting of Guyton appears to be terrible. If in fact,
if you're worried about this year, yes.
Yes.
If that were to happen, if you're worried about this year and you're talking about, if you're talking about wanting to win now in 2024.
If Guyton looks poor out there, you're damn right I would consider moving Tyler Smith to left tackle.
Do you think they would? Or would they just say Adoga?
They'd probably play Adoga.
I think they would play Adoga too. But, I mean, to me, I can't get out of my head Adoga blowing assignments against Miami like he was a rookie at the end of last year.
Why can't I get somebody playing better than, like, Awesome Richards? Why can't I get him playing better than Adoga?
Yeah. Do you think that's a legitimate possibility, though, that we could be looking at of your 6 best offensive linemen, 5 of them are playing the interior right now?
Yeah, no question.
That's going to be a tough spot for them to be in terms of how they allocate their resources, if that's what they get. Okay, so we ran through the offensive side of the ball. Let's go to the defensive line now. Brian, if it is not...
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yes.
How do you think Guyton's going to do?
I think Guyton is going to have growing pains in year 1. I think he's going to be a Pro Bowl caliber tackle in years 2 and 3.
I think there's going to be growing pains as well.
I just don't know if he's ready right now. Is the thing. That's why
I'm hopeful. But
I'll tell you this: first practice we get out there in Oxnard in pads, I would bet a decent amount that Chume Doga's at left tackle.
The one thing that this coach will do is he'll try and hide guys. He doesn't want the media seeing.
He wants veteran, and he wants guys that aren't going to blow assignments, which Adoga did. But if he feels like Tyler Guyton's a rookie who's not going to be ready, he's not going to put him out there.
God, I mean, you're right, though. They could put Smith out there. They could put Smith at left tackle and put BB or Bass or somebody inside.
Done it before.
And be just fine. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, defensive side of the ball now, Brian. Let's take a look at the edge rushers. I think we all anticipate Micah Parsons will lead the team in sacks once again. That's no surprise. Out of the other edge rushers, though, who is most likely, in your opinion, to surpass DeMarcus Lawrence and be second on the team in sacks?
I don't think it's Nealon, because I think Nealon is not really a bendy or a explosive guy in that way. I think he's going to have to, we talk about learning curves. I think his learning curve as a pass rusher might be pretty steep. I think his ability to play the run is right on par with what it needs to be. My guess would be that Sam Williams would be that guy.
Do you think he ultimately does? And I believe he did last year. I think he had more sacks than DeMarcus last year.
Yeah.
Do you think he ends the year with more sacks than DeMarcus this year?
Yes.
The one thing that I kind of wonder about, the only reason why I would be a little hesitant to say Sam Williams,
he makes mistakes and makes.
He's a bonehead. He does a lot of boneheaded things, and I just don't know that Zimmer's going to tolerate it.
Yeah, but if he plays 50 snaps, he might have 4 sacks. If he plays 100 snaps, he might have 8 sacks. You know what I'm saying?
And he might have 8 roughing the passers and
no question. Or hands to the
conduct.
face.
Yeah,
hands to the face.
In your experience with Zimmer, is he somebody who says, I can deal with, if I'm getting production, I can deal with some of the boneheaded stuff?
I think Malik Hooker, when he was on the podcast with Keyshawn Johnson.
Yep.
I think he read Mike Zimmer perfectly. I think that's a veteran that understands his coach. If you're effing up even though you're a productive player, if you're effing it up and you're costing the team third down, you're off the field, but then you go into the quarterback's legs low, hands to the face. If you're doing all those things, no, it doesn't matter how good you are. I'm not gonna play you if you're constantly costing us opportunities to get off the field. But then again, you might be a reason why we're getting off the field, though, too.
All right, Brian, let's move to the interior on the defensive line now, looking at defensive tackles.
They don't have anybody there.
They don't really, and that's where this next question comes from. Is the one technique who leads the Cowboys in snaps this year, is he on the roster right now?
I don't think so.
So you think we could be looking at an Antoine Woods situation from a couple years ago where you go acquire somebody and they get an opportunity? Who would be...
Maybe you move one of those interior offensive linemen that you got.
Yeah, look, they've tried Josh Ball everywhere else. You know, why?
Can I be real honest here?
Yeah.
Josh Ball, you mentioned him, TJ Bass. TJ Bass has proven that he could be a starter. Am I right about that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's a Pro Bowl level, but there are teams playing with worse players than TJ Bass. Am I right about that?
Yes, 100%.
Could TJ Bass fetch you a young defensive tackle, comparable ability, years, salary, those kinds of things? Can he fetch you, if I'm going to give you a starting guard in most circles, maybe not here with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
But just follow me here. If I move somebody like that, does that bring me back a quality potential one technique?
I would hope so, because if you're telling me, like, with the premium people place on offensive line, I would think that you might be able to get something better than the offensive line you're trading because of the premium at the position and the lack of talent there across the league. It's just a matter of the problem is the position we're talking about, which is one technique, which is a pretty talent-starved position itself as well.
Yeah, but maybe.
I would hope you could get somebody who could lead your team in snaps at one technique if you were going to trade TJ Bass. Personally,
my hope is Justin Rogers figures this thing out really quick.
Yeah, he's. I mean, look, Mozzie Smith is the one where
it's like Schoonmaker. It's just, I have hope. I have hope. But don't be standing next to me when practice opens again.
Yep. No, I'm 100% with you. I would just hope that the talent that exists with Mozzie Smith, that's the one that I'm hoping he figures it out quick.
I do too.
Justin Rogers is the one that I'm at least intrigued by to see how that looks once the pads come on. All right, let's move over to the linebacker group now. We got a couple more questions before we get to the mailbag. The linebacker group, Brian. DeMarvion Overshown.
They've upgraded that group.
Yes, they have.
That group looks a lot better than guys like Bell and Wilson and those guys having to play down in the box curse. They've upgraded that group.
And Leofau had some good practices. They like him. You've got Kendrick, the veteran.
Instinctual player, yes. That group, that is the one group that I'm not worried about as we talk today on July 15th.
DeMarvion Overshown. Technically first year, technically rookie year coming into this year because he missed all the last year.
Yeah.
Does DeMarvion Overshown have the ability to be a Pro Bowl player for the Cowboys this year?
No.
Is that a defense thing or a limitation issue? Is that what the scheme will allow him to do? What the reps will allow him to do?
Well, you know what? This is where I could be dead balls wrong.
Boy, he's big, by the way. For anybody, that's one of the things. One of the things we will be talking about in Oxnard is the weight gain. He looks like a legit jacked linebacker now.
Like I said, and I said no quickly, just because, man, I think that's a tall ask. I think he could be a damn good starter for you, and then develop into that type of guy.
Can he be the fix for their run game? Can his presence alone fix the run game?
Do you think him playing on the weak side? Yeah,
probably.
Run to the ball.
Run and chase, yeah.
Run and chase?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whoever plays on the right side away. I mean, because, the Cowboys on the right edge, their defensive right edge have had problems in the running game. It's been Diggs at times. It's been the Phil safety. It's been the end of that side. So whoever plays linebacker to that side needs to be a damn stud. So the ball, if all of a sudden Williams gets hooked, and is not there, and that linebacker needs to be there, or that safety needs to be there, or that corner needs to be there. That's where I would worry. That's where some of my worry would be. That right end, because I know Tank is going to be fine. I worry about the middle. We've talked about that a bunch.
I think
Osa's fine. I think Osa's fine. Next to Osa's a problem. And then so all of a sudden, if you have a liability, you got to make sure that 3 and that right end are kind of paired with each other, because Osa can play the run. You don't want to put 2 guys on the same side that can't play the run. That could be a problem. You understand what I'm saying there?
No, I 100% see what you're saying there. My thing with Overshown specifically and what he's able to do is, I think we saw a little bit of last year, even when he didn't have guys taking up blocks or what they were getting.
He can
from
go
the
make
run
plays.
Defense. He's got it, and it's very small sample size, but he's got a little bit of I saw a little bit of the Sean Lee trait of, he's not even going to let you get your hands on him.
Right.
Like, even if you get a free run, he's going to dip you. He's going to see it coming to my. He's got such good instincts and such a high IQ. Right. I really like Overshown, and I was not a huge fan of the pick when it was made, but you saw out there at practice what a difference he could be. Really quickly, corner and safety questions. We'll hit the corner question first. Brian, would you run heavy at corner regardless of how you felt like Trayvon Diggs looked during training camp?
Yes.
Due to how you've seen guys recovering off of ACLs.
Yes. Absolutely.
So carry potentially 6?
Yeah, but I will say this, though. I'm hearing more positive things about Diggs working now, because we're getting close to camp. I know he's posted a couple of videos. I asked some people in the organization. There were some concerns initially, and what I was told is, we're getting closer to camp. He is ratcheting things up. That's what I was told.
Yeah, and I mean, he's somebody who, like, if you can, I think we have had a tendency to forget just how impactful his addition will be if he's back and healthy. And I mean, what you're getting with Diggs, and then potentially Bland and Carson and Lewis and some of the different packages.
I am going long there. I'm going to go long.
I think that it's worth trying to protect yourself a little bit by having that depth there. Okay, Brian, now over to the safety group, which I know we've talked about Donovan Wilson and where he's at and how he's going to factor into this. Malik Hooker is the guy who I think is impressive, but or has been more impressive in terms of the way you've seen him work this offseason. Some of the things you mentioned that he talked about with the Zimmer defense. Given how complex the secondary asks a lot of times are pre and post snap in terms of disguises and coverages and the different things that Mike Zimmer likes to do in his defense, do you think there is a chance that they still add a veteran, high IQ type of safety just to add to the room to be in there? Not even necessarily for snaps, but is there a chance that a veteran safety is added to really help deal with some of those complexities in the secondary?
My answer to that initially would be no, because I need to see if Marquise Bell can cover.
Yeah.
Because I know Marquise Bell is smart. He's tough. He'll tackle. So I'm going to say, I'm going to look at all these safeties. You've got some veteran guys. You've got a couple of rookie guys that are undrafted free agent type of guys that you probably are looking more like practice squad players than they are potential starters right now. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to add a veteran guy. I think they're going to figure out which one of these safeties, Bell, Wilson, which one of these guys can cover, and which one of these guys, because we know they'll tackle, they'll be physical, they'll play. Can they play with range? Can they cover? That's going to be the first 2 weeks of practice.
I would not be. I agree right now. I think that they'll find themselves content with what they have at safety. But I wouldn't be surprised if they get into camp and they realize, man, there's some complexities here in the secondary that it would really help to have essentially a player coach back there, somebody who can communicate some of these thoughts, some of these. Maybe it's somebody from Mike Zimmer's past that's getting near the end of their career that can just come in here and play an Eric Kendricks type of role in terms of communicating ideas to guys and helping them understand things. I just wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being something that they add.
Well, all right. The Simmons, everybody's got Simmons connected to Dallas, right?
That'd be pricey.
Yeah, that's Dak's agent right there.
It is.
Maybe it's a package deal. Hey, we'll give you a break if you take our safety guy.
The name that had come up for me, that I don't know how much it would cost you, and he's undersized, but I mean he's still out there on the market. I do kind of wonder if a guy like Quandre Diggs, who can play some nickel and some safety, like would that be somebody who, if he's on the street for long enough, a guy who went to Texas. Do they look at it and go, hey, that's a really high IQ player who can add something for us here?
Sure.
And would they invest in it? You are listening to the Love the Star podcast. The Love the Star is an Audacy podcast. You can find it on the Audacy app or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, Brian, it is now time for our Dean Julia Love the Star mailbag, where we turn things over to our dear sweet listeners and get their thoughts, their questions, comments, concerns, whatever else. First question here, Brian, from Matt Holleran. Since 2000, what Cowboys draft pick did you believe would have the best career that just didn't pan out?
That's an interesting thought right there, because we had some draft picks in the early 2000s that those early 2000 draft picks we had, there were some crazy guys in that group, you know?
Yeah.
And do you have one in mind you're thinking of?
I mean, the first one that comes to mind to me is the easy one, and that's I really thought Morris Claiborne was going to be a lot better than he was. I thought Morris Claiborne was going to be...
Never hurt at LSU and came here and was hurt all the time.
I just thought Morris Claiborne was going to be like an all-pro level player, and that obviously didn't work out. It clicked somewhere else a little bit later in his career, but there were two guys in the 02 class that I was a big fan of, especially after their rookie years. I really liked Antonio Bryant, and I really liked Derrick Ross.
I was going to bring up Antonio Bryant. I was going to bring that one up because...
Was he difficult? I know that was kind of his reputation. Was he... Yeah.
Crazy. In a way, competitive as all get out. Like, you wanted him on the field. But legitimately, things just... When he got frustrated, he couldn't maintain. He just got... It just ate him up. How, when he became frustrated, he would just, he couldn't function. He just couldn't put things behind him and get to the next play. One of the most talented guys I've ever seen in my life, though, when we were watching him come out of Pittsburgh, that kid caught everything. He avoided contact. He had a little CeeDee Lamb to him in the way he ran after with ball in hand. And but he just could not keep everything together, and that was a real problem for him. I really was a big fan of and thought they were going to get a lot out of Kevin Burnett at linebacker, and Burnett was another guy who didn't click the same sort of way, but I thought Burnett could have been a lot of the second round picks for me, like Al Johnson, Kevin Burnett, those were guys that I was a big fan of, that I thought were going to click the same way. Similarly, I was a big fan of the Jason Witten pick. I thought Jason Witten was going to be, and that one worked out. So I had those same sort of feelings about guys like Al Johnson and Kevin Burnett and Antonio Bryant, where it's like, man, these second round picks, like you found some value here and can be good contributors there. But those were the ones that I think kind of stood out to me. Brian, next question here from, you know what, I'm going to throw this one out there because I don't know how much time this one's going to take. And so this may take up the rest of the mailbag for you, Brian. Okay. Question from Josh. Would love a deep dive at what exactly is going on behind the scenes with Micah that is annoying people within the organization. It's been mentioned so much lately that it makes me think it goes beyond hosting a podcast or something. Brian, how much would you like to talk about Micah Parsons? I think with Micah Parsons I've been on record as saying I think Micah Parsons hates school football.
Yeah, maybe he's not a big fan of homework.
He's not interested in your OTAs. He's not interested in your mini camps. He's interested in playing football, which is cool. I think he has a real issue with that classroom aspect of things. I think that, there's things that he shows in these videos and stuff of him working out, working at various places, working with other people. That's something that he wants to do. I think they would like to have him in the building, working with his teammates, working with the wait staff that they have here. with the Cowboys. I think that's something that they, hey, listen, we'd like to have him here. We'd like for him to be working with us. We don't, he works. I think there's things maybe with some preparation that they're not too happy with, but that goes back to classroom football. I don't think Micah Parsons particularly wants to sit down and learn how to be an off-ball linebacker. I think Micah Parsons has a God-given talent to put his hand in the dirt and rush the passer. That's what I think he wants to do more than anything else in the world. And, so there's a lot of, when you start to prep, when you start to get ready for games, it's more than just, we've seen the great ones. You've seen the Sean Lees. You've seen the Leighton Vander Esch's. You've seen the Dexter Coakleys. You've seen the Datwins. You've seen the, Micah Parsons doesn't want to do that. Doesn't. He doesn't want to sit down and go through 5-6 games and try and figure out tendencies of, And so there might be people there that like preparation, whether it's classroom preparation, weight room preparation. There's times where, Bobby, you've been in the locker room. I'm not saying anything that hadn't been said. Mm-hmm. Team wins. Micah Parsons in the tank because he didn't get some sacks, didn't get some stats. Fair?
Yeah, fair.
Okay.
Or at least, like, obviously that's not what is said from it, but that's what it comes off as. You won the game, and there's the surliness that you had an empty. Yeah,
you had an empty day. You let a backup tackle for the Giants hold you off the stat sheet today.
Yep.
I think there's things that, like I say, I think Micah Parsons has a God-given talent, and he is really, really good at rushing the passer. But everything else that goes along with it, I think he wants to do it his way, and that rubs people the wrong way.
I'll add a little bit to that. I think.
Am I right or wrong?
No, I think all that is completely fair. I think at times there is a freelance element to Micah Parsons' game as well that has frustrated some people at times and leads to busts, specifically in run game, where maybe Micah's trying to. We go back to the line. Remember on Hard Knocks, the mic'd up segment from the first preseason game, and Mike is talking about wanting to make a play, and Leighton says, "Yeah, but you got to know which is your play to make." And he's saying it in a nice way, but it's like, I know you want to make every play, but you got to know which is your play to make. Right. And I think there's still a little bit of Micah wanting to make every play, and
that's a trait. I mean,
it's a competitive, positive trait in a lot of ways. Yeah. It's a double-edged sword. Mm-hmm. You love it in one aspect. In the other area, it can lead to some busts sometimes because you're not working as a cohesive unit because you're trying to do something that you weren't designed to do. Right. And then there are other times where he makes the play and everybody's happy in that moment.
Right.
So there's that aspect. The other aspect of it I'll say is this. I don't think don't mistake what I'm about to say anybody as like the same sort of off the field legal troubles or anything else. But I think there's a maturing process that they're still going through with him that's very similar to the one they went through with Ezekiel Elliott years ago, where it's just, and a guy who has his heart in the right place a lot of times and has a zeal for the game and has all these different traits that are so great, but you also still going, but you still got to, come on, let's bring it along a little bit. Let's act more like a pro here. So I think that those aspects exist.
There's people in the organization that fear paying him this money. Fear.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and if that's the case, there's going to be these questions, just like everything that we just walked through. Man is one of the best football players in the league.
Arguably the most naturally talented individual in the game. He is incredible.
Mom and dad talent right there.
And disgustingly competitive at everything. Wants to win at everything, and it's fantastic. And so those are all great things, great aspects of it.
But there's these things that we're talking about that rub people the wrong way, and right or wrong, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. All right, Brian, I think we got time for one more quick one here.
I'll make it quick.
From Mike Crum. Yep, really quick. Considering the issues that plagued Dallas last season, could Terrence Steele bouncing back to 2022 form be the key to the season? Improving the run game, control the clock, better red zone, limit opposition's possessions. How critical is Terrence Steele to this season going correctly?
Critical, but point of attack blocking by the tight ends is more critical. They will run the ball better if they get better blocking at the point of attack with tackles and tight ends working together. Terrence Steele is part of that, but they need to be better at tight end. That will help the running game more than Terrence Steele.
Boom. And now you know, and knowing is half the battle. Thank you so much for joining us today. Again, chillboys.com, promo code STAR for 15% off. That's the way that you can support us. Thanks so much for hanging with us. We'll have another episode for you later this week. For Brian Broaddus, I'm Bobby Belt. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you guys again later. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. If you want to see more of our videos, be sure to check out our playlist and let us know what you think in the comments below. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media to stay up to date on our latest updates. Links are in the description. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.